It's harder than a room full of students, honestly. Parents, and actually teachers are worse than parents. It goes teachers are the hardest to quieten, then parents, then students. Students are usually lovely about it. Thank you so much. Hello everybody. Look, thank you very much for being here this evening. We're starting almost bang on time. I did pretty well. I don't feel too badly about it. So look, welcome to our families. It's so fabulous to see so many engaged parents here, interested to hear about the opportunities and the pathways we provide through NCEA. And I also want to acknowledge those joining us on our live stream this afternoon as well. So welcome to everybody. We're going to just begin with our opening karakia. I ask that you say it along with me. Whakataka te ho ki te uru, whakataka te ho ki te tonga, kia makina kina ki uta, kia materatara tai, ehi ake ki tio he hoka he hauho, he hei mauri ora. Beautiful. So our purpose this evening is to outline and hopefully demystify NCEA for you. I know most of you here won't have experienced NCEA for yourselves, and many of you will be, coming to New Zealand from other educational contexts as well. You may have older children who've been through the system, or you may not. You probably know a lot about NCEA, or have probably heard a lot about NCEA. But like any system, it can feel really complex from the outside. So hopefully by the end of this evening, you feel really confident and knowledgeable about what NCEA is, what it is here at Epsom Girls Grammar School, and how we support your girls through it into really strong opportunities and pathways beyond school. I'm also going to introduce you this evening to several key people here at Epsom Girls Grammar School who are like key supporters for students. So most of our energies and our efforts here at the school go towards teaching and learning, right? We're all about what happens in the classroom and what opportunities we can give your girls in the classroom. But it's also important that as a school, we have people who can support your girls to effectively move through the structures of the certificate that we offer to have those opportunities beyond school. So I'm going to introduce you to some key people who, if after this evening or if as your daughters move through school, they feel they need additional help to navigate NCEA, that they can connect with, make sure they get that personal guidance that they need as well. So you can see on the screen our vision statement for teaching and learning here at the school. And our vision is enabling Akonga to be confident, resilient, and agentic. And resilient learners is really important when you're entering any sort of assessment system. Because as girls move through school and as they learn and as they're assessed, there'll be moments when they don't get the outcome they most desire to get. There'll be moments when things don't go well for them. And one of the things that's really important to know right from the outset is there's always another pathway forward. There's always a way to move from a small failure to massive success in the future. And so building and supporting your daughters towards that high level of resilience and towards seeking support when they need it is a really big part of what will ensure they have success through NCEA. And agency, or to be agentic, in my mind, means that they have choices not only while they're at school, but they have choices at the end of their school time, choices in terms of the pathways that they have access to beyond school. So as I was saying, while NCEA can feel confusing and mystifying for parents, hopefully tonight we can help you see that there are so many options for your girls through this NCEA pathway. So many options beyond school. So first up tonight, I'm going to introduce you to one very important person, our senior manager, Dr. Marion Steele. Marion is a person, she's one of those key support people that your daughters have access to for helping demystify NCEA. Thank you, Marion.
Yora koutou katoa. I am the person who is, as senior manager, responsible for the NCEA assessments, the NCEA records we hold, and making sure that everything runs smoothly when it comes to enrolling from the assessments, completing the assessments, and having your NCEA records correct first on the school system and then later in the NCEA portal. If everything's going well, your daughter may never need to come and speak to me. But sometimes there can be issues. And if things have gone wrong during a course, that the first port of call would be to talk to their teacher, and then the teacher in charge of their course. But if things need to be referred further, I'm the person who will deal with it. I have an office just at the back of the main reception block, and my door is open to students who need to come and talk through a problem. Generally, during a course, talk to your teacher. If it's something to do with a record of assessment after a course is finished, I'm definitely the person to come and see.
So Marion's just our first face of a few tonight. And as she said, Dr. Marion Steele is available to students. She's in our student reception area, and she's someone you can see about any questions regarding a course that your classroom teacher can't effectively answer, or if your record of achievement doesn't match what you think it should be. She's your main port of call there. So let's get into the nuts and bolts of NCEA. So first of all, what is NCEA? It's our kind of big theme and big question for the evening. So what does it stand for? It stands for the National Certificate of Education and Achievement. It's our main qualification that we have in New Zealand. And it's recognised both by tertiary pathways in New Zealand and abroad, and it's also recognised by industry here in New Zealand. It's really important to understand that NCEA specifies assessment. It does not specify curriculum. So we at Epsom Girls Grammar School build our curriculum, and we use NCEA to assess it. NCEA also is the thing that accredits your child with a qualification through school. NCEA is an incredibly flexible system. We don't use every single piece of NCEA. We draw on what we think is most effective and what will advantage students the most, and that meets the needs of the curriculum that we deliver here. So that's kind of the first big thing. NCEA is not curriculum, it's assessment. But it has been incredibly successful at Epsom Girls Grammar School and also New Zealand-wide in creating pathways and opportunity. So I like this little bit of fact just to start us off. Within 9 years of leaving school, people with NCEA Level 2 earn twice as much on average as people with no qualification. And staying at school and getting university entrance means you will earn 25% more on average than if you leave school with NCEA Level 2. So NCEA is not only our national certificate, it's one of the best ways to provide a pathway to some success after school for your child. And look, that's a success measured in monetary terms, but we know that matters too. We also have had a lot of success here at Epsom Girls Grammar School with students going through NCEA pathways onto exceptional opportunities to study overseas. So I've just put a few names up on the projector of students who have gone to really prestigious overseas universities through an NCEA pathway here at Epsom Girls Grammar School. As I go through tonight, one of my aims is to include in my talk some of the questions that you lodged with me when you registered for this evening, and this was one of them. Does NCEA offer opportunities? What opportunities does it offer? Do overseas universities recognise NCEA? And the thing you have to understand is that they absolutely do. NCEA can qualify your child to go and study anywhere in the world that they would like to study. Right. So how is NCEA assessed? This is, again, more nuts and bolts. The first thing to understand is the word standard. A standard is basically a statement that exists in NCEA of what a child knows and can do. So your child, throughout their time at Epsom Girls Grammar School, is assessed against NCEA standards. There's an example of a standard up there for English. So in that grey band, the 91098 English standard. And the statement next to it is the statement of what someone who achieves that standard knows and can do. So if you achieve 91098, you can analyze specified aspects of studied written text supported by evidence. This particular standard is an English standard, and you can see next to it that it's worth 4 credits and it's assessed externally. And I'm going to talk about what credits are and what externals and internals are in a moment. But the first thing to understand is a standard is a statement of what your child knows and can do. And here at Epsom Girls Grammar School, we offer 2 types of standards to students. We offer unit standards and achievement standards. The main difference between these is that a unit standard is where you're awarded either a pass or a fail grade, an achieved or a not achieved grade in the NCEA language. Whereas an achievement standard is assessed both internally and externally and offers the not achieved, achieved, merit, and excellence grades. The majority of standards we offer here are those achievement standards. There'll be also time for questions at the end. So if you're sitting here and you're going, oh, I've got another question about that, don't worry, I will open the floor for that right at the end. So some more language. I've been talking to you about this idea that we assess both internally and externally. This is one of the real fabulous features of NCEA. It's actually something students really love about NCEA. We are not a system solely focused on examination. We offer both internal and external opportunities. So the difference between an internal assessment and an external assessment is who marks it. Internal assessments are marked by us here at the school, and then we go through a process of moderation. An internal assessment can look like all sorts of things. It might be a test, it might be a project that happens over weeks, it might be something done entirely in class or partly at home. It looks all sorts of ways. But the main thing is that we, as a team, mark it, and then we undertake a process of moderation to make sure that our marking of your internal assessment meets with the national standard for marking. So that when you say, my daughter got a merit in this internal, it means the same as a girl in Wellington getting a merit in that same internal. NCEA takes in a sample of our marked work each year and checks and feeds back to us about whether we are doing this process correctly. Internal assessment work is completed over the course of the year, but external assessment work is also completed in some instances over the course of the year. So for an external assessment, this is work that NZQA will mark. We often think, or those of us, I'm an English teacher, so those of us who work in subjects that have exams, often think of external assessment as exams, but that's not the case. It also includes our common assessment tasks. It also includes portfolios that are done in art and in technology subjects over the course of the year and then bundled up and sent to NCEA for grading. There's no difference in worth between internals and externals, and to have success in NCEA, most students will access both. One thing we do notice, though, is it's a real detriment to students when they do not take up every external opportunity that is offered to them. So while it's the case that a really effective NCEA pathway is usually made up of a mixture of internal and external opportunities, the external opportunities, especially the end-of-year exams, are something that can really set apart, I guess, success and opportunity going forward into courses beyond school. So it's really important to encourage your child, if they're enrolled in external assessments, to attend those assessments and to attempt every part of those assessments. It's statistically the best way to guarantee a kind of volume of pathways for them beyond school. I love NCEA because it's full of language, and those of us who have worked in it for many years, it kind of comes naturally. We speak fluent NCEA, but I've got some more definitions for you because I think for parents it's important sometimes to have these things clearly explained. So when we're assessing NCEA, whether it's an internal or an external assessment, we'll talk about credit. And credits are the points awarded for each assessment. As NCEA has changed and then we've got the new level 1, they've created more similarity in the value of credit offered for each assessment task. But if your child is sitting level 2 NCEA or level 3 NCEA, they'll still be experiencing some varied amounts of credits for different assessments. And what a credit is meant to mean is 1 credit is meant to mean roughly 10 hours of work, 10 hours of teaching, learning, coursework, and assessment. I don't know if that's always the case. Some of us spend many, many more hours than that on 1 credit, if I'm completely honest with you, but that's the idea of it. So the credits offered doesn't indicate anything about the level of difficulty. It indicates something about how long that piece of work is meant to take. And then when we're talking about credits, we don't only talk about how many there are, we also talk about whether in an achievement standard, your credits are being awarded at a particular level. So on the screen, you can see we have the NAME grade. And again, this is something that sometimes mystifies parents who are familiar with the ABCD of other assessment systems. So an N is a not achieved, an A is an achieved, a merit, an M is a merit, and an E is an excellence. For a not achieved, the credits are not awarded. For an achieved, a merit, or excellence, the full suite of credits are awarded, and the grade just indicates the level at which your child has achieved it. One of the really nice ways of thinking about the difference between achieved, merit, and excellence, and I'm going to massively generalize here because I'm talking cross-subject area, but I think that's useful sometimes. Often, to get an achieved grade, your child is repeating and remembering. To get a merit grade, they're often drawing connections between points within the material. And then to get an excellence grade, they're often generalizing and reaching either out into the bigger world or reaching kind of beyond the material in some way. Teachers here will show your child how to reach for every single one of these grade points, and will work to push your child to, reach the kind of edge of their ability. And so NCEA can feel a bit funny if it's not a system you're used to, because it has this pattern of internals and externals and the different credit amounts. And I wanted to include this quote here about why the kind of diversity of assessment offered in NCEA is actually a really big power of the qualification. So this quote comes from Anna Dong, and she's a former student of Epsom Girls Grammar School who attended Princeton as a graduating student of this school. So her NCEA qualification took her to Princeton. And there she completed her Bachelor of Science in Engineering, majoring in Operations, Research and Financial Engineering, and minoring in Environmental Studies, and is now an investment analyst at Bracebridge Capital. And she said of NCEA, "I believe that I was uniquely prepared for Princeton because NCEA provided me with a holistic academic experience. I was intellectually stimulated, I explored my interests, I was challenged through NCEA. I learnt how to learn. The structure of the assessment program pushed me to develop learning strategies which have helped me excel inside and outside the classroom at Princeton. At Princeton University, I led a team of 16 student leaders in organizing campus-wide events such as career fairs and application workshops attended by 600 plus students. I also met one-on-one with students in career advising sessions, and I direct information sessions to acquaint peers with career-related resources on campus." So this was a student who went through the NCEA system and found that the diversity of experience that it offered her in terms of internal and external subjects, and also the ability to take a broad range of subjects, meant that when she reached this really elite academic position, she was able to draw on a multitude of skills and abilities to have real success there. And I thought it was a beautiful quote for showing why something that can feel like a slightly complex assessment system, not just an exam at the end of the year, actually has really profound benefit for students. Okay. So what I'm going to go on to now is we've done the kind of what is NCEA. It's our national certificate. This is how the credits work. These are the basics of assessment. But how does it fit against our year levels here at Epsom Girls Grammar School? What does it actually look like here? So our year 11 year at Epsom Girls Grammar School is a taster year for NCEA. Your girls will do some externals, they'll do some internals. They will do a full year 11, but they will not do a full level 1 certificate. And the reason for that is, as I said at the beginning, NCEA specifies assessment. It does not specify curriculum. So as a school, we have the ability to build a broad-based and effective curriculum that we think will springboard your daughters into really high levels of success at level 2 and level 3. And by doing slightly lower levels of assessment, we actually gain 3 weeks of academic instruction time with your daughters in year 11. So we find a real benefit in having a slightly reduced NCEA level 1 in order to have a more meaningful curriculum. As part of this, I think it's also worth having your eye on what NCEA itself says about its level 1 certificate. So when NCEA talks about its level 1 certificate, it says the level 1 qualification signals students have skills and knowledge they can build on. Level 1 doesn't qualify you for a tertiary pathway or any sort of career beyond school. It's a statement that if you have that level 1 certificate, that you have skills and learning you can build on. And we're kind of confident as a school that we can equip your daughter with a strong knowledge base and a strong skills base to actually even more effectively step into success at level 2. Our level 2 NCEA is what is mostly sat at year 12 here at Epsom Girls Grammar School. I'm just going to speak first about what you need to pass level 2. So the easiest way to think about the level 2 and level 3 qualifications is they are 80 credit qualifications. To pass level 2, your daughter requires 60 credits at either a level 2 or a level 3 level from her subject classes. And she also requires 10 numeracy credits and 10 literacy credits. Those are called our co-requisite, and I have an expert to speak to you in a few minutes about what that co-requisite is. There are opportunities at NCEA level 2 to pick up level 1 credits, or in year 12 to pick up level 1 credits if there's a need for your daughter to have those. And another thing I think is always worth mentioning to year 12 students and their parents is that if your child is interested in applying for any sort of financial scholarship to a university here in New Zealand or overseas, those scholarships are based on level 2 attainment. Nationally in New Zealand, the way the data works is we have a really quite nice data at level 1, and then we always experience a little dip in level 2, and then it comes back in level 3. And I think the reason for that is students get a bit burnt out by that assessment in that year 11 year. So that's one of the really good things at Epsom Girls Grammar School. We don't have that full suite of assessment. We don't risk that little burnout drip. But also there's a little bit of excitement to be a senior student, and then sometimes it can drop away. And students go, I'll pick it up in year 13. Year 13, I'll go my hardest. But if you're interested in applying for a scholarship, it's your level 2 grades that really matter. So it's important to go your hardest in level 2. And then in level 3 again. Get that out there. Okay. Level 3. So to pass level 3, you require 60 level 3 credits plus 10 numeracy credits and 10 literacy credits. And those are the same 10 numeracy and literacy credits that you needed to pass level 2. They carry over. You only have to get those 20 credits one time. Level 3 NCEA is usually offered to our year 13 students. And at level 3 is where you'll meet the course requirements for most university courses, not all, but most. And it's also where you'll be thinking about your UE. And that will sit alongside your level 3 qualification, your university entrance. And we're going to unpack university entrance in a moment also. I'm going to briefly speak to special assessment conditions. They're available to meet a range of needs. And I think one thing to have your eye on about special assessment conditions is that they're for physical, emotional, sensory, medical, and learning needs. And I think it's important to remember that your child might enter school or enter their NCEA journey not needing special assessment conditions, and then something might change. And you can come and you can seek support from us. You can connect with the Dean and the Learning Centre at any stage that your child might need help. Our Learning Centre, as was very kindly said at the Pacific Whānau before this, wants to hear from you if your child is struggling if they're bored, if they need more support, if they need more extension. They want to hear from you about any sort of learning need your child has. And it's really important from an assessments lens that if your child may require special assessment conditions, which might look like a reader, might look like a writer, might look like computer use, might look like rest breaks or extended time. It looks all sorts of different ways for all sorts of different students. Really important that you talk to us early and that you seek support if you even have the suspicion. So, your child is sitting NCEA level 2 or NCEA level 3, and then the next question often is about this idea of endorsement. What does it mean to have a course endorsed? There's two models of endorsement in NCEA. There's course endorsement and there's certificate endorsement. I'm going to speak about course first and then I'll speak about certificate, and I've got some worked examples for you. Okay. So if we're talking about course endorsement, we're talking about a recognition of achievement in a specific course. To be awarded an endorsement in most courses, so a course is a subject, English, maybe it's calculus, physics, biology, any sort of subject area. To be awarded an endorsement, you need 14 credits at either achieved, merit, or excellence in the course in a single year. The course endorsement is awarded within a single 1-year period. That's different to certificate endorsement. You also need 3 credits to come from internal assessment and at least 3 from external assessment. So again, that's another reason why taking up external assessment opportunities is really important. It can be the thing that can award an endorsement. So when we talk about endorsement, we talk about a course being passed with achieved, merit, or excellent. So it's just about the level at which the course has been achieved. And I've got a little worked example there to help you understand what that looks like. So for student A, in English, they received, I can't even see my own numbers, they received 6 excellence credits, 10 merit credits, and 2 achieved credits. They use a mixture of their excellence and merit credits to be endorsed with a merit in English, because you need to reach that 14 credit threshold. You can borrow from the excellence and bring them down to the merit, but you can't go the other way. Student B is another example. In biology, student B received 15 credits at excellence and 3 credits at achieved. That's like a student who is an excellence level student who works really hard, they're talented in biology, and then they just had an off day for one of their assignments. So they got an achieved, and achieved's still fabulous, but they were really gunning for that excellence. And that's where it's about having that resilience, because they still can have their excellence endorsement. You need 14 credits for that. So it's about having those conversations with your children. One slip, one thing that isn't 100% what they wanted does not close any doors to them. So in course endorsement, 14 credits, 1 course, 1 year at achieved, merit, or excellence level. For a certificate endorsement, what you're talking about is high achievement across subject areas. So you can be endorsed at level 1, 2, or 3 as having achieved, merit, or excellence. What this requires is 50 or more credits at excellence level for an excellence endorsement and 50 at merit level for a merit endorsement. Credits for this it could be 50 at merit or excellence level for a merit endorsement. Credits for this can be gathered over more than 1 academic year. That's one of the differences. Level 3 credits can count towards a level 2 endorsement. Level 2 credits cannot count towards a level 3 endorsement. So I've got another example for you. I've just got one. So student A, at level 2, received 30 merit credits, 10 excellence credits, and 20 achieved credits. The next year, they got 20 merit credits and 40 achieved credits. Their level 2 is then achieved with merit using some of their merit credits from their level 3 level, and their level 3 is achieved at the achieved level. So as I said, your certificate at level 2 and 3 can be endorsed as achieved, merit, or excellence. So that's the main sort of nuts and bolts of NCEA. Let it sink in. It feels complicated, but once you're in it, it makes sense. It knits together. I'm going to talk just briefly about scholarship, and then we'll move on to the literacy and numeracy prerequisite. I know there's some questions around that, and don't forget there'll be more question time at the end. So scholarship is something I wanted to talk to you about, and I chose not to put the big list of monetary awards up there because it's quite long. I instead just wanted to speak to you really highly about the idea of your child pursuing scholarship in a subject area that they are passionate about. So in NCEA, you can sit exams at level 1, 2, or 3, and you can also sign up to sit scholarship exams or to do scholarship portfolios for some of our creative subjects. Scholarship is an opportunity that reaches beyond the level 3 level. Students can take it actually at any point that they want, and we do have level 2 students who take scholarship, or year 12 students who take scholarship opportunities. Scholarship is a really beautiful thing to do. If your child is passionate about biology or they just love history and they just want to take it further, they should talk to their subject teacher and find out how to get involved with and engage with scholarship. I think it's a really great opportunity to extend a passion. It also creates a lot of readiness for university and for further study. I myself did scholarship when I was going through the NCEA program as a student many moons ago, and it was just one of the best parts of my year 13 year. To work with other students and a really passionate teacher, to be self-directed and self-motivated, to be pursuing something that felt difficult and challenging. It's actually a really great way to stay passionate about and engaged with your learning. It sits wonderfully alongside NCEA level 3. A lot of our students who get scholarship also do really well in their NCEA because they're working at that very highest level. It does offer monetary awards, so if you get 3 scholarship subjects at a scholarship level, you get $6,000, $2,000 a year for 3 years, and there's other bigger awards as well. And that's, that's an inducement. It does help as you're starting university. But I think the best thing about it is that it drives and instills that passion for learning in a time that can be quite stressful and quite, oriented towards achievement. It reminds you that you love what you're doing and you love the study. I really speak highly of scholarship, and I really encourage those who are academically able, who have a passion, to consider pursuing it. So I'm just going to hand over now to our literacy and numeracy, our DP in charge of literacy and numeracy, to talk to you a bit more about the prerequisite.
Tēnā koutou katoa, ko Patricia Milner taku ingoa. As Jenny said, I must say I was very flattered to be called the expert in literacy and numeracy before. I don't think that's ever happened. But as she said, there is co-requisites or things that all students have to achieve in order to get their level 2 or 3 NCEA certificate. And they are the literacy co-requisite, which, as you can see, is made up of 5 credits of reading and 5 credits of writing, and the numeracy co-requisite, which is made up of 10 credits of numeracy. And so in this year, in 2025, the students have 2 ways of achieving that. First of all, through what we call a common assessment activity, and they are nationwide tests that happen in like an assessment window in May and then again in September. So as soon as students have passed those co-requisites, then they don't need to sit them again. But if they haven't passed them, there is an opportunity, a further opportunity in September for them to do that. And then as they go through their time here at Epsom, so they get further opportunities each year to do that. And the other way they can achieve them is through their programs of learning, so that some of our achievement standards allow the students to also achieve those co-requisites. So, in terms of what that's going to look like practically for our Year 11 students this year, so for Year 11, the students will be sitting for the first time in May the literacy, reading and writing common assessment activities. And then for those who still are yet to achieve them, they can then have another opportunity to sit those in September. So in order to achieve the literacy co-requisite, they need to achieve both the reading and the writing credits. In numeracy, they have already had a chance in 2024 to sit the CAAs, the Common Assessment Activities, twice last year, and so many of our Year 11 students have already passed that numeracy co-requisite. All students are also doing achievement standards in their mathematics programs, and this is another way that they can achieve those co-requisites. If in September students feel that they would like a further opportunity to achieve those co-requisites in numeracy, then they will also be allowed to enter that September assessment period. And then going into Year 12 and 13, the students are all placed who still need those co-requisites into programs of learning that will support them to build and strengthen those skills that they still need to demonstrate, and they will also be entered into the Common Assessment Activities in May and September until such time as they have achieved them. So for some students it happens straight away, and for other students it just takes them longer to be able to demonstrate that capability, and so we keep supporting them in as many ways as we can throughout their journey here at EGS, with the endeavour of making sure that every student has had as many opportunities to achieve those co-requisites as we possibly can by the time they leave us at the end of Year 13.
We'll have some time, as I said, at the end if there's any further questions about the prerequisites, because I know that's something that our community wants to make sure they understand well. What I'll do now is I'm going to invite Philippa Leisk, our HOD of Careers, to talk a bit more about pathways and also to speak on university entrance.
Tēnā koutou, tēnei ahi ko Philippa Leisk toku ingoa. Good evening, my name is Philippa Leisk and I'm the head of the Careers Department here at EGS. That's the team that I work with, and we're here to support your students through their career decision making here at EGS. Firstly, I want to talk to you about university entrance because I know this is a big deal. University entrance is the minimum requirement to go from secondary school to university, whether that be in New Zealand or overseas. To fulfil the requirements of university entrance, we strongly recommend that students take at least 3 approved subjects at level 3. If they take 4 or 5 approved subjects at level 3, they're increasing their chances of reaching what they need to. So that is the list of the approved subjects, and I will give you a link to that list as well, so that you can reflect on that at any time. I want to reassure you that there are many pathways to a university degree in New Zealand. If a student doesn't achieve university at the same time as they're working on their level 3, all is not lost. Here is a list of many places in New Zealand, what they offer: certificates, foundation studies, certificate of university preparation. They all have different names, but they all work to bridge that gap between level 3 and university entrance that can happen at university, and a lot of students do go that way these years. This is a very, very brief outline of how we support your students throughout EGS with their career development journey. At every year level at EGS, we have a program of career education which is taught through their health curriculum, but it is written by us and prepared by us in the Careers Department. Career Central is the program that we use. It is an online program, and you can access that at any time on the internet. Your student will all know how to get into that program. This program helps students to recognise their skills, interests, values, and conduct job research as we encourage them to find a good match between themselves and a potential career. Preparing to find a job and practicing for the interview are also really important aspects of career education, and we welcome students to come and see us who need support with any of this preparatory stuff to find their job. We have a vocational pathways program here at school, which is offered to Year 12 and 13 students. It is a unit standards course, so it is not a university approved subject, but it has the benefit of offering a work experience program. And we know that work experience is the best way for a student to gain insight into what a job is actually like when they're out in the workplace. So if you have a student who is interested in taking that class in Year 12 or 13, then you are welcome to contact me and you'll have my details soon. On eLearn, under the Student Support Awhina Akonga tab, you will find a whole lot of information which I have prepared earlier for you. I would encourage you all to access this information. It has pretty much everything you need to know about subject choice. So don't have to go, oh my goodness, where am I going to look to find out how do I get into medicine, engineering, psychology, etc. Everything can be found through links that we've put up on our eLearn page. So that is your first port of call when you are considering subjects at subject selection time and when you're reviewing that at the start of each year to see if any changes need to be made to the subjects that you're taking. So I thought I'd just show you what this Career Pathways booklet looks like and give you an example of the information that you will find there. It tells you recommended subjects and required subjects. Don't get the two mixed up. There are not that many degrees in New Zealand that have very strict requirements these days, but it is always good to look at those recommended subjects. We know that if you don't want to do medicine, you don't have to take science, but it's highly recommended that you do. So please, that's your number one port of call, that booklet. However, if your student is not able to meet those absolute requirements in there, think about what I just said a couple of moments ago, that there is a pathway to pretty much everything these days if the student is willing to do the work and take the time to get there. Ngā mihi.
Thank you, Philippa. I just want to echo what Philippa said. I think a big part, I said at the beginning, one of our values through our education is that we create agentic students, girls who have lots of choices and know how to make those choices. And a big part of building your pathway beyond school is starting to think about it early, and then, taking some control and ownership of that process as well. It's never too early to start thinking about it, but I also think it's important to keep in mind that very little is ever closed to you. And you have some amazing resources here at school in the careers department and in your deans and in your incredible subject teachers to help you understand what options are open to you and what different pathways to your goals can look like as well. So we're going to move into the questions and answers section. So what we're going to start with is I had about 140 submitted questions for this evening, and hopefully a lot of them were answered in the course of the presentation. There were some definite themes though, and so I wanted to just pick up on a couple of the themes that didn't sit in the presentation, and then we'll open it to the floor more broadly as well. And I have Philippa here and also some of our other experts who can step in to answer more specific questions for you too. So one of the big One of the big themes that came through over and over again is how can I help my child prepare for NCEA? It's a massive question, right? But it was also a very common question. And I think there are so many things parents can do. Your child has to have agency in their learning. It is their learning. They have to do it. You can't do it for them. But there's so much you can do to set the conditions for them. So the first one is to support the formation of really good habits. You know, a little bit every day. Do they have a space to study? Do they come home, have a snack, and do 20 minutes of homework? Do they go back over their notes, even when the teacher hasn't specifically said it for them? Helping your child build those habits, helping them learn how to put their phone out of reach for an hour so they can focus, helping them organize themselves, checking in with your child. Do they know how to use their email and their Google Classroom? Are their folders organized on their laptops, or are they all scattered across their desktop? Do they know how to do that? They're digital natives, but they do not know how to use computers, okay? You need to teach them, and we teach them, we show them as much as we can, but those sorts of life skills, how to organize yourself digitally, how to make sure you have a pen every day, how to check ahead of time what books you need, those are the things where actually our girls still do need a lot of support from parents until the very end. So that's one of the big things you can do. There are so many study resources available here. There's books in the library and study guides. There's so much on eLearn. But the biggest thing to remember is that your child's teacher will give them everything they need to get an achieve, to get a merit, to get an excellence, and beyond. Every Google Classroom, every subject page here at the school has extension opportunities, has support opportunities. The biggest asset your child has in their learning once they're in the classroom is their teacher. And just directing your child to talk to their teacher and to look at the materials their teacher is providing is the number one thing. Again, it feels easier sometimes to Google it than to just go back over your notes, but it's always better to go back over the notes. The other thing you can do, and this is a big tip I always like to give parents, is you can invite your child, gently force your child to teach you something. So you might not be able to support them with their level 3 calculus. You know, it's been a while since some of us have done that. But if you ask them to teach you how to do something that they've just learned, that process of teaching you, gosh, will they know it better afterwards. If you ask them to explain to you something from their novel that they're sitting and struggling through, explain a quote, explain who a character is. If you ask them to teach you something, it'll give them a little bit of, gives them the mana in the situation. But also, actually teaching others is the best way to learn. So those are my tips for how to help your child with NCEA. There's no magic bullets, it's just consistency. Another question we had was this. Are there a list of resources, textbooks, solved question papers recommended for students taking NCEA level tests for the first time? Are these available in the school library? It would be great if there was a list. Does the school provide additional classes? The answer to all of these is yes, absolutely. There's many support opportunities here at school. And again, it's your subject teacher that's the best place to direct your child towards the specific supports in their area. There are subject support sessions and tutoring sessions. There is a Maori and Pacific homework club that will start up in term 2. There is extension and practice resources on your child's Google Classroom, linked to the subject pages on eLearn. So it's about, again, directing your child to access some of those things. And then if they're struggling or they're not sure, help them have the confidence to ask their subject teacher. This one came up a few times and I wanted to make sure I answered it. So the request that there was a clear timetable of all NCEA's assessments for the whole year set out so that you can help your child plan. I think that's really important, and I love that parents are interested in knowing when those assessments are so that you can help your child schedule their lives effectively. So there will be, during the learning conferences in week 8, an opportunity to sit with your child and their tutor teacher and look at the layout of the year for your child's assessment. So that will come to you in week 8, and your child will be part of building that for themselves, which is a task we'll go through with them across week 7. So yes, there will be. And the final question I had a few in this vein, just some concern. My daughter wasn't in New Zealand last year, so she doesn't have any credits to carry over from year 11. She's in year 12 now. Is that a problem? Will she be able to make up those credits and still be able to apply to university. And I just wanted to reassure that parent, but also a few other parents who are new into our year 11 this year who had this concern, that absolutely. We don't offer the full level 1 at Epsom Girls Grammar School. We really try and support every student to get the level 2 and 3 qualification they need for university. And if you ever have a more specific concern about whether your child has just what they need for the pathway they want beyond school, I strongly urge you to book a careers appointment. You can come with your child if you like and sit and make sure that they're on that pathway they need. But this parent certainly doesn't need to be worried. So I'll open the floor now if anyone would like to ask a question of me or of any of our experts. Any idea? Yes, please. You have to be nice and loud. There will be some individual cases, but on the whole, Year 12 is where students do level 2, and Year 13 is where students do level 3. Any others? Yes, please. We have a microphone. We've got a roving mic. That's very exciting.
If you're studying overseas or you want to study overseas, would doing scholarships be worth anything? I mean, I know that the monetary prize wouldn't really be carried over, but would it be worth doing still?
I think it doesn't qualify you for an overseas university. So doing New Zealand scholarship doesn't qualify you for, studying overseas. I think though, you have to think more broadly about what scholarship is. Scholarship doesn't qualify you for New Zealand university either. What it does is it extends you beyond level 3. It shows that you can approach a really academically rigorous piece of work, that you have the kind of drive to sit those extra examinations. It looks great on a CV, and often when you're applying to overseas university, a CV is part of that bundle. So it certainly doesn't disadvantage you. Yeah. Over here. Oh, wait for the mic maybe, just so we can hear.
Which year level do you think is the most important?
Nice question. Genuinely, because I'm going to give you an actual answer to that. Knowledge is cumulative. You simply cannot decide to wake up one day and start working hard. You will not know enough and you will not know how to work hard. You need to start in year 9, build those habits and build that foundation of knowledge, and then brick by brick, year on year, your ability, your skill as a student and your level of knowledge will grow. So I would say every year is the most important and more important than the last. And working really, really hard, never hurt anyone, would be my other answer. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Oh, yeah, just down here.
Sorry, can I just pass the microphone now?
Just regarding the university entrance, so their university entrance is the same, effectively the same subjects. There's just some approved subjects. Is that correct? So they're level 3.
What subjects?
Well, I'm just trying to remember what they were called. There were some
Approved.
Yeah, approved. Yeah, yep. But they are actually the same subjects, right? The same.
University entrance counts at least 3 approved subjects. You must have at least 3 approved subjects.
Right. Okay. Yep.
Is that
Yep. I think that's what I'm saying. So there's a list of that list of approved subjects. Yeah. And one last thing.
I think one clarification is, so we offer university entrance approved subjects as part of our normal level 3 program, if that's what you're asking as well. So there are some subjects that you can take at level 3 that aren't on this approved list. So it's about just making sure when your child selects their subjects, they're selecting, we actually suggest 4 university entrance approved subjects.
Yeah, that's the answer to the question. And the other thing, will the slideshow be available?
Yes, I'll make sure that this comes out as a follow-up, definitely.
Yeah, that's great, because it's really good. Good summaries.
I think what we'll do is we might leave it there, but myself and my other experts and our deans will stay back. So if there's any other questions just for the next 10 minutes that you'd like to ask, you're welcome to come and speak to one of us one-on-one. But otherwise, thank you so much for attending this evening. It's been fabulous to see you all.